Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Straightforward Farming Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Reed, alongside Nick McCormick, as always. But tonight, we've got guests.
We do have guests.
We got plenty of guests. We're at the, not round table, it's more square.
Yeah.
But you get the gist of it.
Rectangle.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're here with our lovely wives from the Unfiltered Farm Wives Biennial Podcast.
Hello, Carolyn Reed.
Kelly McCormick here.
And we've got Mr. and Mrs. Bushels and Barrels.
Absolutely.
Bushels and Barrels Podcast. Say hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Say hello, Jessica.
Hello, Jessica.
And there it is. So I'm sure you guys probably listen to at least some of these podcasts.
Yeah,
whether
gang's
it's
all
ours,
here.
Theirs, his, hers, whatever pronouns you want to use, you
Yeah.
probably listen to one of these podcasts.
Yeah.
And so what do you guys want to talk about? Do we do a recap of 24? Do we wait a couple of weeks and get closer to the end of the year before we recap 24? Do we talk about farming? Do we talk about politics? Do we talk about whatever? What do you guys want to talk about?
Everything.
Everything?
All of it.
Because this is technically straightforward farming, but we talk about very little farming on this podcast. Or that's actually the way it's been.
Well, the one you guys dropped a couple weeks ago, I texted you and I was like, this is the straightforward, in parentheses, not so much,
Exactly.
farming podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it. But honestly,
relative.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So
It plays into it.
I'm going to guess the girls don't want to talk about a bunch of old tractors or anything like that, so we're going to have to skip that.
100%.
Okay, so you want to talk farming? Let's talk about the McBee dynasty getting clipped for fucking crop insurance fraud. What do you guys think of that?
Kelly, what are your thoughts? Carolyn, thoughts? Jessica, thoughts?
Anybody?
So my thoughts are, what a racket. What a racket. Like,
Oh, and by the way, Drunky the Clown is almost coming out the door here. We're getting very close.
We're moments away.
We're moments away from Drunky the Clown making an appearance. So when he gets here,
Thank you.
we will announce
for
him
that.
on the podcast.
I hope
Thank
she
you for that
produces a
intro.
pizza like she
Broadcast.
normally does.
thank you for that intro.
We're going to need some statistics.
I am just patiently waiting on more information to come out about the big meat.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Okay. Well, Kelly got all prim and proper like she was ready to say something.
Carolyn's waiting. Where are you at?
I don't really follow it, so I'm not going to have a lot. I mean, I know like I know like the 101 level.
Okay, so
Bare
what?
minimum.
I guess we should preface this like we should with any listeners. So the McBees, they farm Gallatin, Missouri, right by Chuck Weldon. If you follow people on TikTok, I've been by their farm with Chuck. I've never been to their farm, never met any of them, but to the tune of 30 to 40, 50,000 acres of
Yeah.
a bunch of ground.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Got popped for crop insurance fraud, several $1 million, facing 30 years in prison now. And they issued a statement of, not apology, but of admittance is what we would all call it.
I agree. Totally agree.
Really no apology whatsoever.
No, I'm sorry I got caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically. So, I don't know. I'm to the point I think they should do away with all this shit. Do away with federally funded crop insurance, do away with the FSA office, just do away with all of it. I think we should go back to farming like it was 1960. As far as, I'm not saying the tractors and the other stuff that we have, but as far as the government involvement.
Yeah.
Out of it. Out.
I agree. I mean, I don't know what it's like in you guys' area, but in my area, you have farmers that will farm river bottom ground, and they'll farm that under an LLC. And then they farm their flat, black, square, and tiled stuff under a different LLC.
Yep.
And then the marginal ground, or kind of in between, and another one. And obviously, it's all for APHs.
Yep. And I don't agree with any of this at the FSA office where you got to fill out paperwork if the AGI form where if you make more than 900,000, you don't qualify, blah, blah, blah. Because all these guys have multiple entities, LLCs, 6 people deep, kids, grandkids, wives.
Yeah.
I mean, it don't prove anything. It's all loopholes.
The
from what I see.
the multi-entity thing's a little bit of bullshit. And let's face it, insurance should be based off risk, right? So if Ryan runs into 25 deer a year in his pickup truck, his insurance is going to be higher than yours if you haven't had a wreck since 1983, right? That's how regular insurance works. But that's not how crop insurance works.
Hey, Carolyn.
Are you
we're
done, Carolyn?
podcasting. Yeah.
Are you done?
Would you like to come up in front of the class and show us what you're doing?
Yeah. If you go ahead and present.
Yep.
Anyway, it should be based off risk, right? Like if you've got ground that is traditionally gets hit by whatever, wind, hail, tornadoes, floods, whatever, that should be high risk. But that's not really the way crop insurance works.
Right. And
that's-
some of the
that's
videos
bullshit.
I made on TikTok, And I only made the comment that like I don't care for the simple fact that they're not my neighbors. It's like whatever. I don't. If they want to fraud the system, I guess that's fine. But everybody's like, well, that makes your premiums higher. No, it doesn't. Crop insurance is the same price whether I buy it from Nick or I buy it from Ryan or buy it 3 states away. Crop insurance is the same price. It does not matter where you buy it.
Which is what makes it even more of a crock of shit.
And it does not affect your premiums. They do not say, well, you had a claim last year, so your premium's higher this year. That's not the way that works.
How many guys have we seen over the years? Well, I bought this new piece of dirt and I'd like to do some dirt work. Oh, I'm going to take prevent plan on part of this farm and I'm going to tile it and I'm going to shove these trees off and this, that, and that. No, you could have planted it, asshat. You just didn't plant it because you're milking the system.
We've seen
have seen a bunch of that around here.
Multiple people around here that everybody else got their crop planted, but there was guys to the tune of like 700-800 acres couldn't get it planted.
No. Conveniently had it tiled all summer. As far as I'm concerned, if you take preventive plan on it, you can't, I don't care. You can't ride a 4-wheeler across it that summer.
That's right.
You're done. You can't touch it.
Yeah,
if it wasn't good enough in the spring, you can't touch it now.
Asshole deep till July 30th.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. And to me, that's just what
you can get a tile guy in the summer, so that's when we're having a tile.
And to me, that's what you forego by being in the government program. Mm-hmm. If you say, well, it's my land, I can ride across whenever I want. Well, if you're in the government program, no, you can't.
Yeah.
So,
talk about insurance. Interesting thing is there's a bunch of insurance companies that want to back out of Florida right now because of hurricanes.
Yeah.
But see, that's what free market capitalism does, is they're losing their ass.
Yes.
I'm tired of rebuilding multi-million-dollar homes on the beachfront.
And that's part of what's screwed up about that. That used to be why there was only essentially beach shacks on the beach, right? Because they were disposable. Yeah. They were shanties by today's standards.
Right.
But back in the day, they were okay structures, but they didn't build multi-million-dollar homes on the beachfront because, well, they're going to get wiped out.
Yep.
Because back then no one would cover them.
Yep.
But now we've got all these glass houses sitting there waiting to fall.
And I've always said that's half propaganda, too. Anytime a hurricane comes through, most costly hurricane in U.S. history, so we can pump up the global warming bullshit. Well, I'm sure it was because a fucking house today cost $3 million. In 1930, it cost $30,000.
Yes.
So I'm sure it probably was the most fucking destructive hurricane.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's all relative.
Exactly.
With inflation and all that,
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just all smoke and mirrors, I think, on a lot of that shit. But
I agree.
Insurance is about a half a crock on some of this shit anyway. You pay it and pay it and pay it, and then when it comes time to collect, we're not going to cover that. Well, you should have told me that fucking 20 years ago because I wouldn't have been paying you to cover that if you weren't going to cover it.
Yeah.
When the time comes.
Well, as farmers, we all make our farm budgets. We know what herbicides and fertilizers cost per year, and you got that in your farm budget. So therefore, if I can raise this yield, this is what I got to get out of it to make this profit. Used to be, and maybe I'm an idiot, but used to be, I never had a line item for insurance because it was just like freaking insurance. It's like I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now it's gotten to be so damn expensive. It's like I need to put that as a line item in there.
Absolutely.
So where does a guy draw the line on large-scale farming? So around here, big operator would be 4,000 plus. That's a big farmer. You go to South Dakota, you farm 4,000 acres, and you still work in town. So when somebody's like, we got to get rid of these big farmers, BTOs, blah, 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 what's the line? Well, what determines?
Well, who's saying we got to get rid of the big farmers?
I mean, that's a lot of the discussion that you hear, that we need to go back to where it was more smaller farmers. Or like take the McBee deal. If they put a bunch of small farmers out of business via crop insurance fraud, collecting millions and then renting land or whatever, it's like, where's what was right and wrong? Well, if they put a 10,000 acre out of business, it's like, well, good, fuck him. But if they put a 400 acre out of business, it's like, well, that's bullshit.
So before we did this podcast, you had a great point whenever we were talking. You said anybody that is caught in the middle of crop insurance fraud should never, ever be allowed to have crop insurance again.
Agreed.
No any of their family, no entities. You can't be smart and try to set up an LLC. I mean, no more.
Yeah, you're done.
The punishment is harsh.
Yep.
Because, I cannot stand the fact that I pay my tax dollars. Some of them went to McBee's. And I'm sure they took that money and they ran up cash rent on their neighbors over there who are just like me, a small guy. And there's guys smaller than me. But we're all in the same fight here. Yep. You're not allowed in it anymore. No more.
I think it, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I think it ruined a lot of communities in small town USA. And whether this is good or bad, I can't say. It depends on what your take is on it. But, you know, when you went from 300 farmers in the county to 30 farmers in the county, I think it kind of ruined the small town touch, didn't it? I mean,
Totally.
nobody's as neighborly anymore.
Well, look at farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wave at each other when we meet each other on the road, but it's like we're not good friends.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that I'm not friends with somebody or would help them out of a pinch, but it's like you wave at them, but you're like, yep, I shouldn't say too much here.
Snake in the grass? Is that what you're trying to say?
Snake in the grass.
Snake in the grass?
It's like I know you would cut my throat because I know some
Once
of
you
them
have
in
the
my
chance.
area around Mount Carmel that's done it to me, called my landlords, and be like, I can do a better job than what Ryan does.
Yeah.
And and these are people that I've never done anything to. I've never called their landlords trying to steal their ground. It's like, what? Why are you doing this?
Well, greed ruins all. And I think as a society, we've got away from the fact that back in the day, you just drove over there and punched them in the mouth.
Can't do that.
You can't do that now. But back in the day, in our grandparents' generation, somebody's getting hit in the face.
Yeah.
Whether you win or lose, you still hit them in the face and they learn their lesson. Your grandpa might have got the shit beat out of him after he swung the first punch, but you made your point.
Let's bring that back.
And we got to bring a little bit of that back.
There's a guy on TikTok that I follow. I can't remember his name right now. He's hilarious. He's
Tony
from like
Reed?
the Boston. Yeah, he's hilarious too. He's from like the Boston area. He has that dialect from up there or whatever. But he has shirts that say "Bring bullying back."
Absolutely.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was just going to say that. Like Nick says that all the time. Like, even in the school system, there's, you know, I'm not being articulate here. I'm sorry. There's things that happen in the school that Nick's like, in my day, a couple of kids stopped a kid in the bathroom and it was like, knock your shit off, whether it was verbally, physically, or whatever. And peer pressure stopped whatever shit they were doing. And so it does serve a purpose in some way, shape, or form, no matter the age, evidently.
Oh, absolutely.
And the part where I want to go back a second to play devil's advocate is if you got an 8,000 acre farmer in your neighborhood and he goes over here to Joe Blow's family that's farming 400, he takes half their acreage, takes 200 acres of it. Everybody's like, that's bullshit. He fucking took this acres, or whatever. And some guys, and the flip side of that, some other guys are like, well, who cares? It's business, let it go. Everybody wants to get bigger, right? That's always one of the things you see on TikTok. Well, ain't that smart business? Everybody wants to grow. But then the minute Sloan Implement buys 5 more stores, well, this is just bullshit. This is just getting out of hand. This ain't good for the farmer. Well, when the 10,000 acre guy just picked up more ground, you're like, well, that's just good business. Anybody wants to grow, So, but when Sloan Implement does it, well, that's just bullshit. Well, what's the difference?
Trying to take advantage of the customer.
Yeah, they're just the 10,000 acre farmer, right? I mean,
Yeah. No, I agree.
so
I agree.
and that's just playing devil's advocate. I don't care either way, but
Yeah. But I mean, the way agriculture has gotten now is, let's just say that, and there's still a few of these, and I'm not sure what it is around here in Shelby County, but in Wabash County, Illinois, there's still a few farmers that only farm 300, 400, 500 acres. Some of them are old enough. They're not just weekend warriors. They fight it with whatever equipment they got to get the job done. Some of them are, 9 to 5ers Monday through Friday, and they do everything Saturday and Sunday. But, you might have a farmer who falls on a little bit of a health problem, okay? Yep. And this farmer might be a little bit older. So you're like anybody with half a brain that wants to rent more grounds, like, well, this farmer's getting older. Well, now you see he has a health problem. At that point right there, you have a decision to make as a human being. I'm either going to call this guy's landlords and say, I see that old farmer A over here has a health issue, and I know he's already 67 years old. I'm going to call his landlords without him knowing, and I'm going to rent that ground. I think that is absolute bullshit.
I have never, ever in my life, hand to the Bible, called or went and spoke to somebody that, hey, I want to farm that ground or whatever. I've never done that, ever.
Right.
And I won't. I just ain't wired that way.
But then, Tony, they go and rent the ground and then don't even call farmer A,
Yeah.
who has the health ailment
Yep.
and is going downhill. The guy that really could use some help. Maybe he wants to farm 3 or 4 more years, and you'd be like, hey, dude, if you need anything...
They'll help him out by taking the load off his hands. We'll just go farm that.
See, so now, define taking the load off of his hands. The way that I would look at it is, If you need any help spraying, if you need any help harvesting, if you need any help planting, I'll be right there for you. I don't want to intrude. Don't call me unless you need me.
Yeah.
But just know in the back of your head, I'm right here for you. You know, I'm your neighbor and I love you. That is gone. This is why it kills me when you see these TikTok videos of how wholesome and nice farmers are.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Like, I cannot stand it.
It's some of the most crooked people I've ever seen in my life.
Backstabbing.
Crooked crop insurance fraud, which I will go to my grave saying there is a pile of that shit going on around here.
Yep.
Well, I think it's just in our world, it's just our glimpse of the big picture of a non-Christian society. Mm-hmm. Like as we drift away from Christ,
so do the morals and
everything else. Like,
exactly.
But since our focus is agriculture, we see that part of it. But it's a bigger picture on that. But it's just the camaraderie and the helping people out, and there's a huge issue with the fact that there is a ton of land owned in this country now by people that are so disconnected from farming. It's an investment. It's a business. You know, there's plenty of people that their business is to buy land, rent it to people, so on and so forth. And that's, I guess, okay. But they're so far removed from small town America that they don't know how those decisions affect you, me, Ryan, Jess, whoever. Like, so it's just business for them.
yeah, it would literally be like us, just to put this in city people's terms.
If I bought an apartment complex.
If we had the money to just go in and just say, well, I'm going to buy John Deere today. And, hell, we don't need all these high-priced guys. We're in lowest bidder because we're just looking for return on investment. So then the product goes to shit because there's nobody that knows what they're doing or qualified or whatever. And then in a few years you dump it or, you're just constantly – all you're looking at is ROI. You don't care about taking care of it. You don't care about nothing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that. I mean, there's
just so
people
you know,
that
my lifetime goal is to buy a John Deere, reintroduce the 4020, paint them pink with just complete shit parts and run them into the ground.
Yeah.
Just on a side note.
Exactly.
That's my lifetime goal. If I ever have billions of dollars, if I'm Elon Musk, that's my goal. I'm running that shit box in the ground.
Yep.
But anyway, side note.
No, you're right.
Just to prove a point. But anyway, moving on.
That's fun.
Would be fun. I didn't really enjoy it.
If I'm Elon Musk, I'm probably not going to be involved in politics. I'm probably not going to be involved in space. I want to be just sitting on the beach, wherever it's warm.
But those guys aren't wired like that, right? Like,
no, you're right.
When you're pushing towards those goals all the time, once you finally make it, like you still have never made it in their mind because they're always pushing.
Yeah,
it's no different than a farmer. If you farm 1,000 acres, you want to farm 2. If you farm 2,
I don't want to farm it all the time.
That is the
just what
truth.
touches them.
Farming is literally a hamster wheel, and then you just give the hamster a little bit of cocaine once a day.
Yeah.
And he just runs faster and faster and and then you just keep dabbling cocaine to him until his heart explodes.
Yeah, till the wheel either the wheel locks up because it's seized up from not being greased, or the hamster has a heart attack.
Yeah. It's just never enough.
Yeah.
And that's kind of weird because I don't think that I've ever been wired like that.
I'm not.
Like, there's a farmer in my area that retired this past year, and I think I'm gonna guess he farmed around between rented ground and stuff that he owned, 2,500, 3,000 acres. I think I'm the only guy in the county that didn't go talk to him. But it's not because I didn't want the acres. If I would have been approached and they would have said, "Hey, we really like your farming practices. Would you please farm my ground?" Yeah, sure. But I'm just not. Hell, I just got done shelling corn Sunday. If I had 1,000 more acres, like, good grief.
Yeah.
I'm happy where I'm at. I'm doing a good job, what I feel like is a good job, and I don't need to farm the whole world.
Yeah. It's literally the biggest deck contest. That is all farming is look at me. It's a look at me contest. I've got an X9 combine. I've got a 24-row plant. That's what it is.
It is.
It's a biggest deck contest.
Exactly.
If you told everybody in America you can farm as many acres as you want, but you got to do it with M's and H's and 6-row planters, half these guys wouldn't be
Without
farming
crop
shit.
insurance.
Yeah. Because it ain't a big look at me contest.
Right.
So I come from a non-production farming family. We had animals. My dad's a veterinarian. But so whenever Ryan and I started dating and then we got married, I'm like, what is the deal with all of these men and the tractor sizes, the sprayer sizes, with your implements, whatever you want to call your combine sizes? And I had a conversation with some farm credit people at some job fair I was working or whatever. And I said, it's just the funniest thing to me because these men are walking around going like, how big are your booms? You know, that's just, it's a joke to me because it's hilarious. It's like, what? You're grown. You're adults. What are you doing?
Yeah, they're compensating for something that's small.
Something.
There are a ton of good people out there yet. Don't take it. We went on this rant here, but there are a ton of good people out there. I've got great landlords. There are a ton of good people out there. But then the backside of that is you see all this going on, and you've got these landlords that are miles and miles away. It's an investment, so on and so forth. And then it becomes a cash rent war of some fashion, so on and so forth. Like my goal, if my son and my nephew don't want to farm, and gosh, I hope they do, but if they don't, I'm going to rent to the poorest, most broke dick son of a bitch in town. Like I'll probably never be in that position.
That goes to our church.
Yes, that goes to my church. That's the kid I'm renting to.
See, there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
The whole reason that I've picked up quite a bit of ground is because of the church that I go to.
It's absolutely the 100% reason you will never farm around here is because around here, that's a negative. I don't understand.
Church?
Yep. You will never rent ground. You will never rent ground in our immediate area from somebody you go to church with.
What?
Makes no sense to me.
Really?
Makes no sense to me.
See, and we're not that far apart.
And
No.
to go along with this is the reason I don't play the ass-kissing game, is because I've seen numerous, and Nick will back me up on this, and I mean numerous guys that went over. Farmer Joe over here was 75 years old, still farming, and they went over and helped him, and I mean, basically done everything for this guy. And then when he decides to retire, no, we're going to rent it to this guy 18 miles north of here that's never lifted a finger to help me.
Yeah.
The church that I go to that I love, I can name you two guys, in the last 20 to 25 years that farm any ground for anybody in that church. Two.
And one just happened recently.
Yeah, two.
Well, if that is standard, then I'm one of the two. I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying
the
that's...
flip side of that is you go 15 miles from here, not even that far. They don't rent ground to anybody other than people they go to church with.
See, like...
Over in our neck of the woods, there are 25 of them that farm over here. You know how many of us farm over there? None. Not a one. We're barely allowed to drive through that community.
Okay, so...
I'm shocked that there's not a toll booth.
Let's analyze something here then. What do you think? I mean, this is obviously wild guesses. What do you think the average size farmer is here in Shelby County versus the county or area where you're talking about?
I tell you what, we're going to split the county in half. We're going to say Route 16 because just right here, 4 or 5 miles north of us, Route 16. When you get there, there's been a lot of bigger farmers up that way for years. But from Route 16 south, I'm going to say the average guy here is 1,300 acres. Would catch a lot. There were some bigger, but a lot that are small.
That's probably pretty close to the average.
Okay.
Yeah.
Average 1,300.
So what I'm trying to get at is like, is the smaller the average acre of farmer, the more likely it is that you will rent somebody off your church?
No.
No. Okay. So that went exactly the opposite that I thought. Okay. Yeah, than what I hoped, actually. Yeah.
Basically, I'll just lay it out to you. If you're southeast of us and you're Catholic, you're renting it to another Catholic. And if you're over here and you're not Catholic, you're renting it to a Catholic. I'll just call a spade a spade. That is what it is. You're gonna damn sure rent it to a Catholic that raise livestock because they're gonna pay allegedly more and haul shit on it, and that's how it's gonna be.
I'll be.
Whose kids are not in our school system, whose family is not on our town boards, city boards, etc. Yes, absolutely.
And then you're going to go uptown and bitch about how there's nothing in this community anymore. There's no grocery stores. There's no this, that, and the other. You're going to bitch about it. Meanwhile, the whole time in my school district, our local school district, I guarantee you there is more ground rented by outside people than there is people that live in the school district by about probably 20%.
Huh.
It's all outsiders at this point. Because they didn't stick together, they don't band together. They're not gonna rent to their neighbor, this, that, and the other. They're gonna go outside of it.
I'll be damned.
And maybe that's unique to our area. I don't know.
I don't know.
But it is frustrating at a lot of levels. But it is what it is, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's business, allegedly. But you see it happen and generally speaking. And tell me if it's this way in your area. The guys that rent ground to their neighbor around here are guys that could use the extra money, but don't go after the extra money. The guys that rent ground to the McBees of the world are guys that don't need the money anyway. They're sitting at home. They got stacks of cash anyway, but they rent to the high bidder because they can, and it's their ground. Hey, they can do whatever it was that they want. But that seems to be the way it goes. Not always, but I would say 80% of the time.
Yeah, in our area, what I've noticed is you have the big farmers that live immediately close to me, but I live on the Illinois-Indiana border, and it seems to me, for whatever reason, and maybe it's just a total fluke, but more Indiana farmers are trying to come over and farm Illinois ground. And, I mean, this is anecdotal, but I haul some grain down to Shawneetown, Illinois, which is well south of me.
Yeah, I know where you're
at. But it's down on the Kentucky border.
Yep.
And they bitch about the same thing down there. Kentucky farmers are coming up and farming ground in Illinois. I don't know what their angle is, and I don't know why, but I hear that a lot.
See, we're on the Mason-Dixon here where Tony and I are at. The ground tapers off fast.
Sure.
We can see black dirt from here, but we don't have any of it.
Right.
But those guys love to have a little bit of shitty pieces, I assume, so they can play the crop insurance game. They can bring their 220 bushel APH down here. They can screw the system blind, overbid for it because they don't care. They're going to make it up on the backside. Legally.
Especially if you're buying optional units.
Yeah, but if we go up there, we take our shitty APH up there, that didn't do me any good.
You need a 2012 at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You see that a lot.
But, back in the day, and I'm not saying this is right, wrong, or indifferent, but when I was a kid, everybody had livestock around here. Everybody. This guy had sows, sold the feeder pigs to this guy. Everybody worked together. You didn't step on his toes because he was supplying my feeder pigs. But once all that got integrated, went bigger and bigger, and everybody got out of livestock, then now it's just become a money game and just...
Well, yeah. I mean, like right now around my area, and I'm not 100% in this, but it's hard to find a 4-H feeder pig.
Yeah.
Is it like that up here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all contracted with somebody. You really can't get one.
Yeah. Which used to be you had 3 or 4 neighbors like, hey, you got a sow that just farrowed, and are you ready to wean a couple pigs? We could take one.
Yep. And I don't know, when you look at the whole big picture, that's the whole argument that you always hear that, the average farmer in America is 67 or whatever the age is. They say, who's going to farm all this ground? I tell you who's going to farm all this ground. The guys that are farming 10, 12,000 acres now are going to be farming 30,000. The guys that are farming 30,000 now are going to be farming 60,000.
Yeah.
It's not going the other way.
And that's funny. I was on TikTok there. Time gets away from me. It's probably a month ago. And somebody, I think it might have been Mike Burkhart, and this is nothing against Mike, obviously, but he made a TikTok about these farmers that are just bidding up so high on cash rent. And you got to watch out. You got to go broke. And Tony, it was your comment that was spot on. And your comment basically said, these guys never go broke.
Yeah.
How are they doing this?
I've heard this for years. That God damn, they rented that for $600 an acre. There ain't no way them guys are going to make money doing that. And that's been 25 years ago. And they've got an X9 set in the driveway and 6 quad tracks. And so,
how do you do it?
Yeah, so they're not going to go broke. I'll promise you that they're not.
So does that mean we need to do it? If you have the mentality, I need to rent a few more acres.
I probably mentioned this on TikTok, but I had a very wealthy man tell me one time, and he's not wrong. If you go to the bank and borrow $300,000, that's your problem. Because the bank says you didn't make the payment, I'm taking your shit. Go to the bank and borrow $20 million, like, fuck. We got to make this work, boys, because if you go down, we're going down.
Yep.
So they'll shove money across the table then.
In the oil industry, which we got a prominent oil field down there in my neck of the woods in southern Illinois, I actually heard one guy tell me, you got to get deep enough with the bank that they have to go with you.
Exactly. And there's a lot of truth to that.
Maybe that's the way it is.
But here's the flip side. You told this story last night, that now banks are wanting machinery as collateral instead of land. Yeah. Does this not sound like a big land bust coming?
I don't know.
Boy,
it does seem
sucks.
suspicious. I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and his neighbor, line of credit, whatever it was, they didn't want land put up for it because that's a pain in the ass to auction off. I'm like, it's like $20 to get an auctioneer to auction that off. That's like 4 signs, some flyers, you're good. They wanted his line of equipment to auction.
So they wanted their collateral. They wanted it to be depreciable,
all equipment,
which is falling like a rock currently.
Fell like a rock.
Yeah.
That's what he was telling me. He's not a guy that lies or bullshits to me on this stuff. And I didn't even know who the guy he was talking about. So I believe him. maybe that's the case. I don't know.
But the bad part is, too, and I'll say it, I don't give a shit who listens to this podcast. I'll call them out on it. Our local bank, and I'll say it by name, Shelby County State Bank. All the land that they own and manage, they're going to call about 3 or 4 farmers. If somebody comes to them, says, hey, my dad died, I got 400 acres here, I want you guys to manage it. They're going to call 3 or 4 farmers, and that's it. Shouldn't that be to anybody that farms, that has notes there, or does business there, we're going to put this out?
Customers?
And who wants to farm it?
Yeah.
They don't roll that way. And I don't give a shit. I'll call every one of them out.
I'll be damned.
They don't. I'm not wrong. I will promise you 100%. There's about 4 farmers that they're going to call, and they're going to have first dib on it.
Okay, what if those 3 or 4 farmers are stockholders inside that bank?
Who cares?
And not just customers. Well, I mean, stockholders, I don't know. I'm just asking.
Right, but if I'm borrowing money to the hilt there and paying interest and everything else,
Yeah.
I mean, is my money no good either?
That's true. Yeah.
I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, it is interesting how all that goes, you know. I'm to the point in my life, I'm content with what I've got. I've got a couple of goals in life. I want to have enough money to feed my family, and I'm trying to get my family and myself into heaven. Outside of that, if I die broke, I don't really give a shit. We're all going to die, so I don't give 2 shits about the rest of it. Like, if I end up a millionaire, hey, that's great. If I don't, and my family's happy, content, and I got to spend a lot of time with them, I'm good too. I don't care. That's where I'm at.
The flip side of this is, and I've seen this on several occasions, and I'm not going to name any names or give examples per se, but I'm content with where I'm at for the simple fact that I've had fun in life. If I died tomorrow, I have no regrets, and I've had a pile of fun. I've seen a lot of guys that have married into farming operations and get treated like a fucking rented mule.
Yes.
It's like, I wouldn't trade with you. Okay, fine, you farm 6,000 acres. Ooh, you're a big swinging dick in the community. You got $20 million in the bank, and the farthest you've got from home is the fucking Ozarks. You went there once a year for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow, big deal.
And you had to be back on Sunday evening
Yeah.
because, well, there's shit to be done.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this on the way over here tonight because you and I have a lot of conversation with the boys Henry's age or whatever. Like, we had more fun by the time we were their age than they're going to have in their entire lifetime.
Absolutely.
Just by talking to them and my daughter as well. Like, they're not having near as much fun as we were. And I'm not saying they got to be us, and Lord knows I've made plenty of mistakes growing up on all that. But
And this,
they don't need to be us. But by the same token, we've had a ton of fun. Tonight, prime example. We're out here shooting podcasts with our friends, having a couple of drinks, having a great time. They're probably watching.
Do you not think that at some point, though, fast forward, our kids to be our age is what, 25 years from now, 30 years from now? They won't find something really fun to do with their friends, like this maybe. But, I don't know. I'm asking.
And I think it comes back to the fact, I've covered this before on TikTok, it's because nobody will leave them alone. Everybody has to helicopter them, from their parents to the schools to everywhere they go. They got a camera up their ass.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter if they were at a party. Some dipshit here would have to show on the whole party that there was somebody underage drinking. It's like, hey, dumb fuck, quit telling on yourself.
Yeah.
I beat it in my kids' heads. It's like they're just obsessed with coming home and telling their mother everything they do, and they don't do anything bad. But I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I didn't
Yeah.
tell my mom and dad anything, but they just can't wait to get home to tell them, well, we done this tonight, so-and-so done that.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Go be a kid. Get in a little bit of trouble.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
One of Nick and I's favorite quotes ever is from the TV show Shameless. Have you guys ever watched that?
Yes.
Shameless or whatever. So Frank, who, is the worst parent in the world. He's telling somebody at some point how to be a good parent. And he's like, the secret to being a great parent is to be a little bit negligent.
Yeah, which our parents were.
So true.
There's truth in that, though. Yeah.
There really is.
And our parents weren't being negligent. They were just so busy trying to keep a roof over our head that they didn't have time to helicopter.
Exactly.
Like, we have this illusion of comfort and money in this country now. Like, let me just back up for a second here now. Like, what you give for your house, what I get for my house, what you probably get for your house would have been mind-boggling to our parents.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But we're making it work. So we have the illusion of money-ish. Not that any of us are overly wealthy by any stretch of the imagination, but so we think we were doing all these things. Our parents back in the day were like, shit, my dad gave $3,000 for a '69 Dodge Charger. Flat told me he didn't have a window or a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. The bank shouldn't have loaned him the money for it. But he made it work, made the payments, had this car. Should have never had it, but he had it. Not that we're not working hard towards a goal now or whatever, but we have like $3,000 now. It's like, I'm going to piss that away tomorrow. Like I probably will. Like, who knows? It's a random Sunday. There'll probably be some club volleyball thing, and I'll piss away $3,000.
Not being mean, you pissed that away in club volleyball in a season of club volleyball.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, between hotel rooms and the entry fee.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not being mean, but it's just,
I have, But I enjoy doing that stuff with my kids, and that's fine. But it is so far skewed from what it used to be that it boggles the mind a little bit.
It's no different. I went in the house just a little bit ago to check on the kids. Henry comes out, hey, me and whatever friend was is in there. We're going to Parker's house. You care if I go? I just said, nope. And that was the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
I don't need to know, well, who's going to be there? What time you coming home? Because I've already laid the ground rules. I parent just like my dad did.
Yep.
I don't need to tell you to be home at midnight. We've established that months ago. And I just flat told him at the kitchen table one night, you be home at midnight until you hear different.
Kelly and
I don't need to have
Kelly and I have had this conversation before. You could call, or you could text me. Hey, Nick, need some help. Okay, I'll text you back. Okay, be over there in 5 minutes. I'll tell Kelly, hey, I'm going to Tony's. What are you doing? I don't know. Said need some help.
I know exactly.
Well, do you need to take anything? Didn't tell me to. Well, what are you going to do? Don't know. Well,
What does he need help with? You have no idea.
Men don't
You have no idea.
Men of
You
my
have no
generation don't need to know that.
I need details. I need details.
Men of Tony and I and Ryan's generation have all that shit in the truck. When we get there, we've got all the shit with us. We don't
Oh
need
my
to know.
God, why does Nick need
And that's
help?
why
What's
it takes,
going on?
And that's
Is
why it
something
takes you
bad happening?
45 minutes.
Is he
You're going to run to
cardiac
Dollar
arrest?
General.
What's going on?
Yeah,
Carolyn's
you're right.
at Dollar General getting all this shit.
And when we get there, if we don't have it in our truck, we already know where we
You'll
can
figure
find
it out.
what
You'll
we need.
figure it out.
Absolutely. Nick will be like, well, I'm going over to Tony's. I'm like, why? He needs help. With? And he's like, well, I don't know. He just needs help. And I'm like, is something broke down? Is their marriage falling apart? Like I need to know. And
It
the
is.
scale of something.
Our marriage is
like,
falling apart right now.
Women immediately jump to worst
kids
case
okay?
scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time. And I'm like, I don't know. They need help. And here's the thing about men of our generation. If I show up here and we need some other shit, it doesn't matter. We're either going for beer or we've got beer, and then we'll go get whatever else was we need.
Exactly.
Oh, Turns out we got to go Home Depot in North Dakota.
No big deal.
We'll be back in a week.
Yeah. And that's why, and I'm not being sexist here, but that's why I'm a little bit uncomfortable with a woman president, because they wake her up at 2 o'clock in the morning, like, hey, Iran called. Well, did we bomb them? I mean, they just immediately jump to all these irrational conclusions. Like, calm down. They're just wishing you a happy birthday. I mean, just stop.
Yeah.
No big deal.
You're exactly right. Like,
It's just a time difference. That's why they call it 2 in the morning. It's fine.
yeah, you're exactly right. Like,
But it's like they're like ready to push the nuclear button. I mean, do we need to push?
my dad did not want to know details about any of that shit.
No.
Were they sarcastic when they said happy birthday?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Did they really mean
what was
it?
their tone?
Yeah.
Do you have it on video? Like,
Yep. Well, they didn't send a card.
what? Like, sometimes I know Kelly judges me and people judge me. I'm like, well, did you? We'll be having a conversation, and I don't tell her. Sometimes I don't even tell her about the conversation because I don't want to go through the details that I don't know. Because it's not so much that I don't know; it's that I don't care enough to find out about them because they weren't pertinent to the issue.
Yeah.
It's like, so tonight you're coming up here. Kelly needs it down to the 30-second countdown on when you're going to be here. I'm getting ready to leave. I'm like, hey, I'm going to Tony's. Well, are they already here? No. But I can be there 20 minutes early. It's Tony and Carolyn's. She's like, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm like, if I get there early, it doesn't matter. I'm like, Tony needs a table. I'm going to take him a table. It's fine. Yeah, I suppose. It's like, it's a whole process for her. For me, it was, Tony had texted me earlier, hey, if you got a table, bring one. So I load the cooler, throw a table in, I'm out the door. Kelly's still trying to get details from me. I'm not even there to give them because I already left.
I guarantee you, in the event that I ever commit a crime like McBee's or some big federal crime, and I'm sitting in there under the spotlight, and they bring in a woman interrogator, I'm just admitting to it right off the fucking bat. I did it. It's done. Because I'm not going through 45 minutes worth of fucking questions.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I did it. Give me the sentence. I'm done. I'm not because so you did commit crime. Well, what were you wearing that day? Well, who'd you talk to?
Oh, who was there?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you talk to her?
Yeah, what tone did they use?
I'll be over here till 3 a.m. The next morning, Kelly's like, so what'd you learn last night? Nothing.
Yeah.
What'd you talk about till 3 a.m? Some shit. You don't remember?
Was Julie Doe there?
No. Like,
the best part is though is when they get all these big juicy details. Might be some sort of local gossip. They're like, did you hear about so and so? Like, yeah, we talked about that Tuesday night. You didn't tell me.
Yeah.
No, because I didn't want the fucking details.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't have just said that Tommy Joe down the road wrapped his car around a tree. Because then they had to know what make, what model, where was he coming from, what was he doing, where was he going, how did he do it? I don't know. All I know is the fucking kid wrecked his car. That's all I know.
Tony.
What I get is, well, why are you hiding that from me?
Yeah.
Tony, information is our hobby.
I know.
Quit knocking our hobby.
I know. Exactly.
I'm just going to chime in here. If I
Jess,
didn't
you can
have
chime in,
the
too.
information that I had, you would not live the life that you have. Okay?
Okay, let's start that conversation.
Yes,
Where
because
is
we
this
are in the details.
Yes.
Yes,
Exactly.
we are in the details.
And
We
see,
are living in the details.
This is
You
what actually.
can't- time out. No, shut your face. Shut your face. I'm gonna go here. You're doing all your things or whatever. I live our life in the details.
Yes.
Right.
And you have no idea what the details are. You're like, oh well, I'm just gonna go do this willy nilly.
But you know what?
And I'm
Who-
like, you know what? I have to figure out this kid needs this kid needs this. We have an appointment this
Right.
day.
But-
we have school. All
But
those things.
Women bring so much unneeded stress into their life that it is not even funny.
I disagree.
If I-
Disagree.
generally speaking, who's happier in their relationship? You, who's worried about the details, or Tony, who has 0 fucks to give?
I will lay. I will.
But he has 0 fucks to give because I give
You're
all
in
the
the
fucks and I
details.
take care of that
Yes.
shit.
Time out.
That is it.
I will lay
That
the
is
deed to
it.
this farm right now. The deed to this farm on this table. If I walked in the house right now, all 3 kids are asleep and said, "Kids, get your clothes on. We got to run to town." They're all going to get up and they're going to put their clothes on, and we're going to get in the vehicle. We're going to go to town. But when Carolyn goes in and says, "Kids, get your clothes on. We got to go to town," they're going to be, "What for?" Well, then she have to start explaining to them. And then, well, you need to wear this. And it's cold out. You got to put a coat on. I don't care. You're 15 years old. I shouldn't have to tell you to put a winter coat on. So I look at it as if you're going to walk outside in 32-degree weather with a short sleeve shirt on. Don't bitch to me when it's cold. You're sensible
But
enough
this
to
is
know
where
that.
it's a balance between a dad and mom.
Exactly. That's why I don't give a fuck. I should not have to tell you that. And if you're not smart enough to
But
figure
you
that out,
need a dad who says that, and you need a mom.
Agree,
who cares.
100%.
You need both of them.
It balances each other
you
out.
have to balance each other. You have to.
Your 0 fucks to give is up here, and our level of details is here, and so your life ends up in the middle in this beautiful spot.
Exactly.
This
Exactly.
beautiful spot, Tony, that makes everything work.
But
And
see,
it will make our kids the most wonderful people in the entire world because he's here and I'm here.
Yeah.
And then we meet in the
but
middle.
this is where I think women take stuff too literal. They're going off of something that their grandma told them 85 years ago. So let's just take this coming week. I seen on Thanksgiving Day, we're supposed to have a low of around 20 degrees. So if I told the kids, hey, get in the car, we're going to town, and they all walk out with no coats on, I'm going to wait till we get 3 miles down the road. I'm going to be like, none of you dipshits wore a coat. So if our car breaks down, you guys are going to freeze to death. And then I'm not going to run the heat. I'm not going to do nothing. We're going to let them freeze all the way into Walmart, all the way out, and just let them bitch to high hell the whole time that they're cold. And then the next time, I would have to tell them to put a coat on. Because like, last time I went down, it was colder than fuck. So I'm wearing
That's
a
a
coat.
good point.
Where mom was going to have to say, well, you got to put a coat on. You got to zip it up and put your mittens on and put your hat on. You gotta
Actually,
wear
I'm
this
going to be
coat.
honest. I don't pay attention to the weather and what's happening, so
Right.
I'm
I promise
very willy-nilly. I'll be like,
I promise you.
But I
do
promise
we need
you.
a coat? Do we not?
I promise you, your kids are all of age to put their coats on. When they were 2, 3, and 6, who was the person sweating the details to put the coats on and the hats, etc.? It was the person of the details. It was Carolyn. It wasn't you.
Okay, listen.
not
It was
you.
she.
It was me.
I'm getting ready to leave for a week for Thanksgiving. I'm going to Arkansas to see my family. This year, we had planned on Ryan not being done with harvest. Thankfully, he is. And
Well, he's got a new Holland. That was a
we
50-50
haven't-
chance.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
That
But
was
it's just
great.
like your
That was
combine and
great.
it is paid for.
So I'm getting ready to leave leave for a week. And do you know how long I've been stressing about Alden and Ryan being together? Because Alden is staying home. It just worked out this year. He's staying with Ryan. Usually goes with me. It sounds weird, but my family's from there, so I'm leaving. For 3 weeks now, I'm like, okay, what's Ryan gonna do for Thanksgiving outfits? What's he gonna wear? Thanksgiving outfits? Like, he doesn't even know.
Does it really matter what somebody wears to Thanksgiving?
My kid who doesn't dress himself every morning.
Wait.
Like he has, like mom picks his stuff out for him.
And here's where I'm going with this. Let's just pretend that a family here in town locally, let's just pretend that they don't have any money, and we all know they don't have any money, and they put a family picture on Thanksgiving, and they're just kind of dressed in rags. And if I get on Facebook and say, well, goddamn, you guys could have at least fucking cleaned up for Thanksgiving, you guys are going to be all over my ass. Well, they ain't got no money. It don't matter what they're wearing. It's all about being with their family. But now suddenly, it's all about what they're wearing.
No, it's because you've got to. You do have a good point
because but I made a trailer park video one time.
And they come out of the woodwork.
Oh my God! But you know what? The trailer park got cleaned up.
Exactly.
It did.
The funny part about that is, so anytime I'm gone, like, give me this list when I come home, so on and so forth. I'm like, I don't give that to you when I'm gone. Like, if I come home and the house is a mess, I give two shits. I'll move on.
But you don't have that stress load on your mind of figuring those things out.
Yeah.
You do not have that on a daily basis.
No, I don't.
You don't.
Because
Usually,
I don't care.
You don't.
When I go out of town.
No, but whenever a mom, we have our kids in all these sports, they're doing XYZ and everything like that. We are constantly thinking, okay, I have to get this kid to this practice. I have to get this kid to the next.
I do got to chime in here, though, before I take off and go pee real quick. That half the stress comes from because you got all these kids and they're all in sports and you're trying to do their school, and then you're going to volunteer for 900 committees where nothing gets done and add even more load to the fucking plate where I don't volunteer for shit and I never will.
And because you don't volunteer for nothing, that's why I have to step up to the plate.
She's working 2 jobs, taking your place, Tony.
Yeah.
Volunteering.
But not to throw you under the bus, Nick, by any means, but you guys, men in general, do not understand the stress load, the mental stress load of a mother figuring everything out.
Okay, so
you do not get it.
When I go out of town, I have 2 or 3 meals made for Ryan before I leave town. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I care, and I would rather him eat the food that I make instead of like Arby's every night for 4 or 5 days. That's all. I mean, that's all. And he prefers that food, I think.
Will they survive with that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll be totally fine. But is it the level that I want them to be at? No.
Because they can have better than Arby's.
No. When I travel for work, and the kids have practices and sports going on, like I have pre-planned all the logistics to make it easy for Nick. Like I'm like, so-and-so has practice from here.
I have this person picking up
this
this
friend is
kid.
picking up this child and dropping them off at home.
Absolutely.
They have this game, such and such person is, blah, 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 blah. And I have to say, though, that like when I travel, the kids are always like, please don't go. Dad is not a good single dad. That's what they say. They're like, he's not a good, like, and that is with pre-planned stuff, much less him having to figure out the logistics.
They also say the same thing when Kelly's gone or when I'm going to be gone. They're like, well, when we get to do this, we're not going to have that. So it is a balance. But by the same token, like I've never once called Kelly and be like, hey, I'm gone doing this, that, and the other. Can you make sure the dishes are done when I get home? No, because I don't give 2 shits.
But I do give 2 shits. Nothing pisses me off more than when I'm traveling for a week and I come home.
So here's how it's going to, if Kelly's going to leave, here's what she's going to do before she leaves. She's going to get every dish we've got. And run it through some sort of gamut of shit box.
She's going to wash it.
No, she's not going to wash it. No. She's going to make 10,000 cookies that we don't need. And all the dishes are going to be stacked up there. Now, here's how Nick's going to handle that. I'm going to wait till 20 minutes before she's coming home. And I'm going to power wash all that shit right before she gets home. So I didn't waste my whole weekend doing dishes. But I'm like, you didn't have to make that shit before you left. Like they sell.
It's how I know. It's how I know you love me. if I make a mess in the kitchen before I leave and it's clean when I get home, then I'm like, Nick loves me. He does.
So
I like that
evidently
strategy.
Tony does not love
I
me
just
because
need the
my
proof.
kitchen's a disaster every time I come home.
But it's just like I've always said. You've got 3 kids. You won't let them do any dishes, so.
Oh, my
ideal.
kid does
Time
dishes.
out.
My kid does
Time
dishes.
out. Or, like, I had a complete come apart 2 weeks ago.
Runaway.
Was it 2 weeks ago? Probably. And the kids have stepped up to the plate and they have done fantastic. So.
But this is honestly, and me and another good friend of mine have this conversation a lot. I don't ask my kids to do anything. No. I tell my kids, Henry, you're going to have to wash the combine. Okay. And he goes and washes it. I don't ask him to do anything. It's just plain and simple.
That's what.
I'm a dictatorship.
Exactly.
I got a hierarchy with my kids. God, then me. I don't care what anybody else told you. If it didn't come down from the Lord Jesus Christ himself, you take my word for it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit, and this is not being mean to my wife. I don't give a fiddlers what your mom told you. If I'm telling you this is how it's going to be, by God, that's what I want done. Yep. I don't care if your grandma told you. I don't care if a teacher told you. If I want it done this way, that's what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't work out and there's a big issue, call me. I will take care of it.
So from a wife's perspective,
that's the way I want it.
So from a wife's perspective, I agree with Nick. I'm like, yeah, do that more.
Yeah.
Do that more.
And we did forget to announce that Drunky the Clown has showed up from a wife's perspective.
We've got statistics to prove that that's how it should be done.
I can stay.
We're at the point in the night where Carolyn's eyes are only half open.
And this is why we recorded the Bushels and Barrels podcast first.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I love my mom to death, and my mom had, direction for us and rules and things she wanted done. Dad shit trumped all that.
Yeah, same.
And
same
she
in my
never
house.
questioned any of that. Like,
Nope.
hey, can you do this, that, and the other? Okay, I'm starting that. And then Dad says, hey, I need to do that. There was no questions asked. You went
would say that's
and
the
did
same.
whatever Dad requested to be done because he didn't ask.
Yeah.
There again, he told you, I need this, this, and this done. Then you can go, do your mom shit, jack around with your friends, whatever. But I need these 3 things done. Yep. And I'm telling you once. If I had to tell you twice, it's when my foot enters your ass.
Yep.
And I can tell you right now, a Tony Lama to the ass crack hurts. My dad was not Jean-Claude Van Damme. He couldn't raise his foot to walk hardly, but he could kick like 10 miles high if he had to.
Did you mean Jean-Claude Van Damme?
No.
You almost messed up Claude.
I didn't though. I did not.
This is America. It's
That
John.
was Carolyn's trying to prove sobriety right now.
My dad didn't know who Jean-Claude Van Damme was.
Field sobriety test. Say Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It would have been Chuck Norris.
She's going to get DUI walking to the
With
house.
my dad, it would have been Chuck Norris.
Yeah, she's drunk enough. She could DUI walking into the house.
At this point in the game, can I just ask, Tony, why did you not have a fucking bathroom put in this shed?
Because it eats up too much wall space. I went through this on TikTok. Apparently you don't watch my TikToks or listen to my podcast. God damn it.
My feet are freezing. I got no place to go to the bathroom here.
Because he makes poor decisions and doesn't listen to his wife.
Without his wife. Yes.
Yeah. Because that'd have been one more thing for her to stress about. How are we going to clean the bathroom in the shop?
Tony, I love your shop.
It's funny you mentioned that. So I was talking to a
But
buddy
it
of mine a
could
while
use
back.
a bathroom.
He was having the same debate. Well, I want to put a bathroom in my new shed, but my wife said we can't do that. I'm like, why not? He's like, well, there'll be another bathroom for her to clean. I'm like, I don't know if you've seen us. We don't care that much. Like if she cares that much, she'll go back to the house. Yeah. He's like, that's what
You know what I
was
should
thinking.
do is here in like a week or so put a urinal in here. Then tell your wife, what are you talking about?
Women are so afraid of urinals. They're scared to death of urinals.
They were, yeah.
They can't handle a urinal. They can't deal with it.
I'm going to disagree on that. I have no problem with the urinal.
Like
With a urinal.
A urinal?
Like
A
looking at
urinal.
Urinal.
Carolyn, like
URINAL.
Peeing in it or just looking at it?
No, just squatting in it.
really?
I can do it.
That's a whole other level. That's not where I thought you were going with
I
that.
had a buddy at a country dance bar in Peoria that shit in a urinal one time.
Really? I'd probably do that if I needed to.
Wow.
It was a men's only. Obviously, if it's a okay, my bad.
Obviously.
Can we bring back the
I'd
full-length
be in a urinal.
urinals?
Oh, the one that went to the floor?
Yes.
Yeah.
The way they should be so you don't get pee splatter all over you
Yeah.
with the foot flush. I don't need
Yes.
the automatic flush. I'm not about to touch the hand flush. And can we? So
Amen.
bathrooms are a pet peeve of mine. I was just in a restaurant today.
Because he's a germaphobe.
I'm not a germaphobe, but I'm germ conscious.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
germ conscious.
I'm with you, Nick.
They've got automatic towel dispensers, but the door opens the wrong fucking way.
Oh.
What good did the automatic towel dispenser do you? So now you have to open the door, prop it with your
With
foot.
the same guy that wiped his ass and didn't wash his hands.
Exactly. I'm like, if you're not going to do the one, there's no reason to do the other.
Yep.
Bathroom shouldn't even have a door. It should be zigzag, or the door opens out so you can hit it with your elbow, kick it with your foot, whatever. But it just boggles my mind. We've got an automatic towel dispenser, which I get. It saves you on the towels because those places that have the towels stacked up, you're going to end up with 25 of them. You're going to get none or you're going to get 25.
Right.
So I get the automatic towel dispenser. I've got no problem with those. But I'm like, if the sink's not automatic and the hand soap's not automatic, what difference does it make if the towel's automatic and the door opens the wrong goddamn way?
Yep.
Just there's no reason for that.
Yep. So I want to know, as me thinking out loud, what's more sanitary? Washing your hands in a public bathroom after you use it,
I wash going in.
or not washing it after you use the restroom and just walking out? What's more sanitary?
I don't wash after I use it, but I have hand sanitizer in my purse that I...
Okay, for a man.
What do you do, Tony?
So you said,
Never
Do you
thought
wash
about
it?
that.
Okay, so
That's
you
when
go
you
in and you take a piss. The only thing you hold is your own dick, okay? It's not like you got a bunch of splatter that came up and got all over you. You stand over the urinal and you take a piss. Do you wash your hands and walk out because everybody else in there might look at you like, man, that asshole didn't wash his hands? Or you just walk out because you're like, it's more dirty right here at this sink than what I otherwise would need to put myself in front of.
A lot of times I'll wash going in, depending.
Going in?
If I've shook a lot of hands, absolutely.
No
'Cause
shit.
You've never you never shook a hand that didn't have a dick in it in your
Nick
entire
washes
life.
his hands
Okay.
going in and out, 100%.
Yeah.
Really?
In and
You
out.
wash your
In and
hands
out.
going into the bathroom?
Stop, now stop. We've just overlooked the most obvious phrase here. You've never shook a hand that had a dick in it.
No, I get that. I understand.
Have you? I don't think you
Tony,
have.
I just stood outside and pissed right beside you. I gave you a high five and you held your dick. It's fine. I get that part.
But see, this is where most of the time I don't wash my hands. And now everybody's going to be, oh my God, you don't wash your hands. We've been pissing outside my shop all night and not a single person has washed their hands.
But we've all touched that door handle
we
to get
didn't-
in here.
We didn't get any splatter on us either because we're just peeing outside.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm holding on to skin that's putting
because
the
there's
piss
not-
out
there's
where
not a
it's
bathroom
going.
in
It's
there.
not like I got pee on my hand.
Well, a good rule of thumb on that is don't put your dick anywhere you wouldn't put your mouth.
Duh.
I mean, what kind
That's
of
just
other
good standard
podcast can you
practice.
get this kind of quality
That's quality
entertainment?
advice.
But I will tell you this much. Walmart, places like that, I'm not quite as conscious. A fucking truck stop, I'm ready to wear a hazmat suit. A truck stop just freaked me the fuck out. They do. It's like if you said tomorrow, I'm going to pay you $20 million, but you got to drive a truck over the road for 1 year, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do it.
You know, a side note, I've never ever thought about any of what you're talking about.
Why are we as men
You've
thinking
never-
about
you've
it?
never
We're the
thought
tough
about
sons of
Never
bitches.
thought
Hey.
about in depth.
Just remember
all of this.
The one takeaway, you've
Yes.
never shook a hand that ain't had a dick in it.
Never thought about it.
That, my friend, is a true story.
Facts.
That's true.
But on the flip side, as a girl, you're probably washing your hands more frequently.
often. Yeah.
So you're not as
Boy, I
worried
could say
about
something really bad right
Never
now.
go to it. Nick, never go to
And
an
most men have
infectious-
never kissed a woman who's never had a...
Never go to an infectious
We're going to glaze
disease.
over that.
Here's my thing, and I'm not a germaphobe, and you have to be exposed to some of that to build a tolerance. I get all that.
Sure.
But here's my thing. Like, let's say I'm at the National Farmer Training Show, Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I'm walking with dipshit over here who is, you got to be a bodyguard for him at this point in time. So there's 10,000 people shaking his hand, and so by proxy, they end up
And
shaking
Nick
your
is
hand.
like,
some.
I need hand sanitizer.
I carry it with me at all times in that situation.
free.
That's why I wear a little pocket here so I can put it on in my
lubing up
hands.
every second
I got a
he
funny
can get.
story on that in a
Every
minute.
second
But
he get.
so I've shaken 25 hands. I have to pee. I wash going in because God only knows. To my point, my brother and I were laughed about this for years because he's not near as bad as me on some of that, but similar-ish. Guy comes up, shakes his hand, is coming up to shake his hand, but prior to this, we watch him wipe his nose with his hand as he's talking to another guy, then walks up and shakes my brother's hand. It's like, well, I just watched you wipe your nose, like, and wipe the snot off of it and rub it on your pants, like,
Yeah.
which, you're going to build some tolerance, whatever. That's fine. But at those deals, I can assure you I have a pocket sweatshirt on or a pocket coat, and I have hand sanitizer in my deal. I was hand sanitizer cool before COVID.
Really?
But I hardly ever get sick. My wife can attest this. I hardly ever get sick. But I'm not germaphobe, but I'm germ conscious. If I shake a bunch of hands, I'm going to wash going in. I'm going to wash coming out. I'm never going to not wash coming out because that's just public courtesy. Nothing pisses me off more than to see some dude come out of a stall. He was shitting in there.
Oh, yeah.
There's 25 urinals at this show. So he didn't have to pee. He just dropped a deuce. Hey, it happens to everybody. Everybody shits. I get it. But he comes out of this stall and
The question is, did he use an ass gasket, though? You know them things?
The paper ass gasket. What a train wreck those are. So he's coming out. He's walking straight to the beer line. He's going to the same beer line you're going to. And it's like, good Lord, man. Like, you didn't have the time for it.
Nick would use it. Do you put it down?
I don't anymore. I might hover.
You don't
I might
anymore.
hover. So what I like to do. Couple things here, Jess. I would like to redesign the American toilet because it's not set up right. So if you don't
Would you put a bidet in?
No. But if you don't have an elongated bowl, you're shortchanging the larger fellows with big junk. If you have the standard toilet, I'm tucking some shit in places I don't want to put it. I'll just be honest with you.
We are covering shit Anthony Fauci has never
I'm not saying I'm John Holmes, but I got to have some room.
I just want to say I went to the bathroom and came back to this conversation. Where did the wrong turn take place?
We're covering shit Anthony Fauci ain't even thought of. We are light years
What
ahead.
I like to do is wipe that area down, throw that toilet paper away, flush that. Hopefully they have an automatic flush so I can just wave it. And then I like to lay a little mat down there with some toilet paper just so in case something touches something it shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's out of the way.
Okay.
We're all good.
Okay.
Because that's who I am.
But you really wash your hands before you go into the bathroom?
Absolutely.
I have never heard of that in my life until tonight.
I've never thought about that. I've never thought about
You guys, let me tell you, Nick in church on Sundays, he is watching for the pastor to walk down the aisle so he can be the very first person. Like as soon as the pastor walks past our aisle, he bolts out. There is no waiting for the family or whatever because he's shaking that pastor's hand first on the way out so that he doesn't have to shake the hand that shook 200 other people's
But what
hands.
if the pastor just took a shit?
That's why I have hand sanitizer in the car, and I'm not going to touch my face in the meantime. I have keyless entry. That's why I'm not going to. I'm probably the only person sitting at this table that's wiped their phone off recently with sanitary wipes because that's who I am.
And this is why nobody from that church rinse anybody else in your grab. Like, this guy's fucking weird.
I also,
Motherfucker won't even shake my hand.
I also don't get sick a lot because I don't lick toilet seats. Back to my earlier point, you've never shaken a hand that didn't have a dick in it.
Boy, this went from straightforward farming to weird shit.
Just like the last one.
It did, yeah. But we should announce that in the meantime here, Mr. Bullets and Mullets has walked through the door here of the lovely shop. You want to join in the podcast? He can. He don't have to.
Yeah, roll up here.
We'll just,
Say hello.
We'll just.
I heard there was an emotional support group for Harris supporters this evening.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I want to stop by and make sure everyone was doing all right. Looks like everybody's good, so I'll go ahead and leave now.
Yep. There may be several guests. Hell, I'm getting phone calls and texts. People, I don't know if people want to stop by, whatever.
Speaking of phone calls, you want to try Cody?
Yeah, call him up.
Yeah, Cody.
I bet Cody washes his hands going into the bathroom.
So Cody Gayer was supposed to come tonight.
I bet he does.
Let's have that conversation with him if he picks
He's
up.
kind of a germaphobe.
Yeah.
To
He
set-
does not eat after people. Not even
To set the
Nicole.
stage,
I
Cody
get that.
Gayer was.
I won't drink after my wife. I'll make out with her right now, but I'm not going to drink after her.
Really?
Yeah, not. Wouldn't even consider it.
Oh,
So
really?
I want you to know there was a time period where like Tony and I both have toothbrushes that have to be put like to get charged up or whatever. I used his toothbrush for like 2 weeks. And like
What is wrong with you?
would never.
No, I would have moved out.
Like, who cares?
I care a
The
lot.
like 7th day I was like, this is not my toothbrush. And I was like, oh, it's Tony's.
Yeah, I'm out on that.
No. I just replaced it.
I don't even keep mine in the same room as Kelly's.
No, he still uses it. He still uses it.
It's fine.
Mine's in a different bathroom.
It's
my,
good.
my sister had a roommate in college that she didn't like, and she scrubbed the toilet with that woman's toothbrush.
And that's why I have my own bathroom. Far away from everybody else. Where I keep my shit.
You got a urinal in it with an elongated toilet?
Does have an elongated toilet?
That's the reason that he wants to see that one that goes all the way to the floor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got ass gaskets in there, or you?
You know, I clean it myself. I don't ask anybody else to do it. I'll Clorox it down myself. Kelly has cleaned it before. My daughter's cleaned it a couple times.
You've never heard the term ass gaskets. It's a gasket that goes between your ass and toilet
Yeah.
seat.
I know. Yeah,
I'm sure you guys have already covered this if you're on germs, but the best advice I ever got from Nick McCormick was, you don't know how much you piss on your legs until you peed in the urinal with shorts on.
That's exactly right. Go to one of those short urinals that's mounted high. Piss in that with shorts on, you'll realize how much piss you're getting on yourself.
Do you know I'm going to think about this whenever Ryan sits down in his recliner every day in his jeans?
Yeah,
I piss on myself whenever I'm not pissing in a urinal.
We probably ruined your marriage, but that's okay. But anyway, we're gonna call Cody Gayer. We're gonna call Cody Gayer right here live on
And
the
he's not
podcast.
gayer than anyone else. That just happens to be his last name.
He was gonna come tonight. He had a gynecologist appointment. He couldn't make
He
it.
couldn't make it.
So I don't know if he's gonna answer or not. If he don't, we're gonna leave him a voicemail. So let's see here. Yeah. Like, what's up? I hope he's in bed. Whoa. This ain't looking promising.
It's not. He knows our tactics.
His dad hasn't probably paid his phone bill.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Cody.
Yeah. What are we going to leave a message about?
You reached Cody with
ask
Dairy
Gaskets.
Equipment. I'm unable to answer the phone right now, so leave me a message and I'll call you back as soon as I can. If you need assistance from someone else in sales, you can contact Daryl at 618-839-4421. Thanks.
Everybody call Gary.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, dipshit, we're not calling Daryl. Call us back. We're sitting around drinking, having a good time. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, Cody.
Yeah.
Was going to buy some shit, but you're not answering.
Yep.
A couple semis.
Yeah.
Hope your gynecologist appointment went well.
Yeah.
I turned it down, damn
Fuck
it.
off. Who else we want to call?
Hell, you want to do some prank calls? We can do it.
We can.
Let's call a Walmart distribution center and ask where their chicken comes from. That actually helped Jess and I get TikTok famous too.
Oh, I remember that. We should call and ask if they got any ass gaskets.
Do you sell those in bulk?
Yeah.
Does Shelbyville have a Walmart? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You need to call them and just say, hey, I had a horrible experience.
I don't know the number.
We're going to do this?
I don't.
This straightforward farming podcast is going to turn into a prank call show.
Doing his deal. Whatever. I don't care.
I don't care what we
See if they got ass gaskets. I don't care.
What do you ask them though when you call? What?
Your bathroom ran out of ass gaskets, but use that term. Like, what's the proper term for that?
Ass gaskets.
Toilet seat cover?
I like ass gaskets. Back there.
I don't know.
I think it's anal separation.
You guys want to know a funny story?
Yeah, let's hear
some
it.
deal.
Like one of the jobs that I've told Jess that I'd love to do is just be an over-the-road truck driver, just to get out there and just see the places.
Oh, you don't want to see that.
that I would never.
Nathan used to drive.
Nathan used to do that. He's seen it. You
Really?
don't want to see that, do you, Nathan?
So Ryan would never, ever he would never be able to do it.
I can't
Ever.
do truck stops. Roller dogs.
That's
and
And
all
my
that's
problem.
the only hang up that he has. He's like,
Well, I
when
got to
we
shit
retire.
in a public bathroom, and I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm serious.
What if you brought your own ass gaskets?
I couldn't. I cannot.
like even like the good ones, like cork gaskets. Like,
Yeah.
not just paper, like good
Yeah.
gaskets.
Wait, that sounds like you're trying to plug it off.
No, I mean like a cork gasket. Like you put on a motor, like a cork gasket, like made out not out of
Like a
thin
hefty
paper.
one.
Yeah, a good one.
Yeah. No.
So I'm assuming you shit in truck stops. Here, just tell us about shitting in truck stops.
If we're going to use gaskets, you got to use the right stuff. You don't want to use a regular gasket, right?
Well, that is true.
I mean,
right stuff seal up anything.
Yeah, that's the best they make. So
yeah.
There you go.
Little Permatex.
What's the deal about truck stops?
You tell us.
Yeah. No, nothing. I don't know. Now, I do know that Nick, when he was tractor pulling, used to stop and hang out at the pickle parks, but I think that was a totally different deal.
I do like a good pickle park.
Yeah.
Pickle park.
He'd say
like
at the
that.
Henry Horton Inn every night.
I would say at the Henry Horton. I do like the Henry Horton. Their water pressure is like 75 pounds.
You're gonna have to
and
tell
their
this story.
thermostats go down to like 43.
Oh, nice.
My wife is not impressed.
For those of you guys who have never stayed at the Henry Horton Inn in Chapel Hill, Tennessee, this is my husband's favorite hotel. He has talked about the Henry Horton Inn for years. And so a few years ago, we're going on vacation down in Florida and we're driving halfway down. And he's like, we can stay at the Henry Horton Inn. We can stay at the Henry Horton Inn. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, we better make reservations. It'll be full. There was one vehicle in the parking lot besides ours. And I should have taken that as a warning sign. So we go in. We check in, and the walls are made of concrete block that have been painted 100 times.
Oh, nice.
Like if you imagine, okay, like let's just think of like a hotel you'd stay in the USSR circa 1985. This is the Henry Horton Inn, okay? So we go to the room, and the quilts are from 1985. There's cigarette burns in the quilts.
Nice.
Oh, man.
It did have great water pressure. I will tell you, it did have great water pressure. But if you're ever wanting to experience communist Russia, I do recommend.
He told me right
the
where it
Henry
was.
Horton Inn.
Drove right by it. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep driving.
It's his favorite. It's his favorite. His favorite place.
Yep. Do they? Which I didn't stop. Do they have ass gaskets there, or are you just on your
I
own?
didn't look for those there in the gift shop, but next time we stay there, I will look. I will look.
I didn't know if you had to bareback it or if you could just run ass gaskets.
But the water pressure, I mean, you have to take a step back. I mean, the water
really?
pressure is immense. Let me
ya.
tell you. Yes, yes.
The Henry Horton Inn. Yeah, he told me the exit and the whole ball of wax where to stay.
It's not a bad place to go.
Who was Henry Horton? We should Google this up.
He was somewhat famous in Tennessee for something. I don't know if he was a former governor. Or, I think he might have been a governor of Tennessee at one point.
It is not the Ritz. It's not even a Holiday Inn circa 1985.
What state is this in?
Tennessee.
Tennessee, okay.
Yes.
Exit 42.
Whenever you
It's
said Chapel Hill.
south of Nashville.
Really?
Yeah. Absolutely. What's that?
On 65?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're on,
So you
if
said
you're on your way
Chapel
to Florida.
Hill. I'm thinking North Carolina. I'm like,
No.
man, he drug you a long way out of the way.
The
to
way
go to
more
Florida.
important Chapel Hill, Tennessee.
Okay.
Which the
Which,
Henry
which has a
Hilton's-
great tractor pull.
The Henry
A great
Horton's still a
tractor.
little bit off the beaten path. Like it's not really on your way to Florida. I mean, but if they got good water,
It's like 10 miles off the interstate. So it's $300 and some to stay next to the interstate. The Henry Horton's like they pay you $5 to stay there.
and free ass gaskets included.
Yes, yes. And good water pressure. And they have one. So their Lions Club puts on a great tractor pull, a phenomenal tractor pull. I think I read this somewhere that their Lions Club donates more money than any other Lions Club in the United States.
Really?
They put on the whole pull is ran by the Lions Club, and it's not like your local county fair deal. Like this is top shelf. They roll out the red carpet for you. Back in the day, a little bit before my time, like all the pullers, they're going to feed you, right? You go to this gal's house that lives next to the fairgrounds.
Be careful.
You take your shoes off, walk through. She feeds you. Like it wasn't that way when I got there, but the year or two prior to that. Now they still feed you, but it's in the school because the
Like,
school's on the fairgrounds.
Like, did you eat there?
I did not eat there because that was before my time. But now it's in the cafeteria of the school that is on the same fairgrounds. Same
'Cause I'm
premises.
sure you would have asked if she washed her hands before.
No, I would have
going
ate
to the
there.
bathroom.
I would have not disrespected a Southern lady.
Yeah.
It's one thing you don't do in the South, and that's disrespect a Southern lady. I would have eaten there, but no problem. I'd try to be at the front of the line only because all these other guys like Ryan are not washing their hands.
This is true.
after they shook them all day.
I wash my hands.
It doesn't
I've
sound
just
like it.
never in my life thought to wash my hands before I walk into the bathroom.
Which I guess it makes sense.
I'll be honest with you, Ryan. I think my penis is cleaner than some people's hands, so I wash going in because I don't want to drag that shit onto
Nick,
myself.
I know nothing about your horse cock, but I guarantee you it probably is.
I'm just telling you, I'm washing before I go in because I hang out with guys like this that have been to truck stops all over the United States, and they could drag some shit on the door.
After we heard about it, have to tuck all this shit away in these unelongated toilets, I can see why he washes his hands.
Well, you realize what he just did, right? He was talking about he wants the urinals that go to the floor to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just thinking, like, yeah, there's more surface area for you to hit. No.
Yeah, there's other motives.
I'm just telling you. The angle of the dangle is all proportional to the mass of your ass. So you got to have it. You can't angle it off if it's too high and it's too short. Just telling you.
So just out of curiosity, did you guys' podcast ever get this far out in the left field?
Never.
We're opening new horizons.
Yeah, that's a whole new
You know
level
what
for
I
you
love
guys.
is this is the straightforward farming podcast.
Yeah, we've been talking about urinals for about 45 minutes
It's
now.
pretty fucking straightforward.
You got
There's
that part
a lot
right.
of straightforward. There's not a lot of farming in that conversation.
Exactly. And you know what, though? That makes for great listening. Because how many times can I listen to you guys burp and fart into a microphone and talk
Tony.
about a
That's not
40-20?
Yeah, and see,
Or a 1466. I don't give a shit either
and
way.
the same way is, like, you can literally be driving your semi, hauling grain, and stop to get out and take a piss, but you don't have to hit pause because you're not really going to miss nothing. Get out, piss.
But now you're going to think about washing your hands before you get out to pee.
No, because I really don't give a shit.
Oh, you're going to tomorrow. You're going to think about this overnight on your drive home.
Honestly,
and
the
you're
next-
like, from now on, I'm going to wash my hands when I go
The
in.
next time I pull into Road Ranger at Grayville, I'm going to think about that.
Yeah.
They don't have doors at Road Ranger, but I'm going to think about that, Nick, honestly. I'm glad they have a zigzag.
Do women
Next week, McCormick Diesel's releasing their own line of antibacterial.
You're actually not.
Toilet seat covers.
Yeah,
Portable ones you can take with you. Yes, absolutely.
Do women's bathrooms have ass gaskets?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was probably the invention of them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I assumed it was, but I don't know if that's
I
just
have
a
no
man
idea.
thing. Yeah.
Do you guys have elongated bowls or no?
I have no idea.
Well, nowadays, in the days of transgenderism, I'm sure they do.
We're more
Never paid
point
attention
blank
to the
range
polls.
people when it comes to pissing, so it's not quite as like important as far as tucking and all that as like you, I would hope. I mean, like in Biden's America, maybe that's an issue,
Now,
but
I am going to have to go off the rails here and tell you this much, that I have to commend each and every one of you for setting down in a fucking porta potty in July when it's 600 degrees outside. I can't do it.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm pissing outside.
You know, somewhere in America or China, they're making brand new porta potties that pre-smell like piss.
Yeah.
Before anybody's ever defecated or pissed in any of them, they stink the day they are made. I don't know how they infuse that in, because I've been in some brand new ones. It's like I watch them set it. I go in as soon as the truck leaves. I'm like, this already smells like Satan's ass crack.
Yeah.
How did this happen? I don't know.
I don't know what a
it is.
gag sounds like on radio, but you're
how
getting
you
ready
guys
to hear it.
ever set in them to piss is beyond me. Couldn't do it.
I've never sat in one. Never
Do they
sat.
have ass gaskets
You have to
inside
hover.
of
If there was ever a need for ass gaskets, that is the place.
Yeah.
Do they have them?
Yeah, I think so at the nicer places, but I've never sat in one, like sat.
but the
You
hovering,
just hike your leg.
the hovering
You just
becomes
hike
an
your legs?
You
issue.
have to hover.
I'm starting to get
Yeah,
worried.
but now it's an issue. Like if you have to like hold on to the wall because now they have that whole urinal thing off to the side.
Oh, yeah, and then you've got
you
the
have
urinal in your
yeah,
face.
It's like you're
That's
sitting there and there's
bad.
a fucking urinal like
Right in your face.
Right in your face.
Well, are you
Pea
touching
drops.
No, but it's there.
right there. It's like
right there.
I am so glad Eve
And
ate the
let-
fruit
and-
first.
and let's
I am
face
so glad.
Let's face it, later on in the evening at those events, not all the piss is hitting the urinal. There's guys going there spraying and praying, just making it rain in there. So I get where they're at there.
Well,
Like it's a struggle. I can fully understand that.
I've
Here's
ne-
my thing. Like I realize there's a cost associated with everything, right? But those things could be just a touch bigger. A guy of my stature You get it? I'm touching the door, I'm touching the wall, I'm touching the back, and I'm touching the front. Like, I got nowhere to go.
And there's no place to wash his hands either.
There is outside with a little foot pump, which I appreciate. But
which is just recycled water.
When you're in there, I'm all four sides. Like, I'm touching it all. Like, I'm like, I got nowhere to go. I'm hovering, I'm leaning, I'm like doing the freaking lambada.
He's looking for the elongated.
Plus
we
the
need
hokey
a movement.
pokey all at the same time. Like, there's nowhere for me to be.
Nick.
I'm picking out the handicap one if I can.
Nick. Have you ever went to the restroom in an airplane?
I have. That's even worse than a porta potty.
I don't think I have.
It is
At least it's stainless steel, man.
I have never shit in one of them. I peed in one. And there ain't enough room in there to do anything. I mean, that is horrendous.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
Yeah.
The few times I've flown, I did not have to go.
Oh, we're going to get the
How
truck
about
driver in here who pisses in the bottles.
Well, I'm thinking about how about a party bus? You guys never been on a party bus? You know,
I have been.
About the end of the evening and everyone's
it's
drunk
covered in
and shit,
piss.
and you're going down a country road and you're just pissing everywhere but the toilet in the back of the party bus, and you're just piss. You know,
At that point in the evening,
I
I don't care as much.
Yeah, you think it's beer, it's piss that you're walking around in.
Yeah, but at that point in time, it's clear and you're pretty good.
Yeah. So you don't worry about the piss all over your boots. That's fine.
At that point in time, I don't care.
How did we get on this?
I don't know.
We have went so far.
I blame Ryan.
Not only how did we get on how did it take so long?
I know. This is
Bottom line is, you filthy bastards, wash your hands
Before you go to the toilet.
before you go in. Wash your hands when you get done. And you're part of the problem. And why do doors open the wrong direction? See, if the door opens incorrectly, then I'm for damn sure washing my hands on the way in, because now I've had to touch this door that opens the wrong goddamn way, which everybody else has been touching. So I wash them going in, I wash them coming out. I like to keep my shit clean. Just saying. It's where I'm at in life.
I don't like it. At least he's clean, Kelly.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm going to tell you, I watched those videos back in the day, and STDs scared the shit out of me. So I'm all good there. I've never been down that path, and I'm not going down that.
Well, I ain't having sex in
Kelly's
the
got a
truck stop
very bewildered
bathroom
look on her
anyway.
face.
I'm not about to risk it, Ryan. Have you seen this generation? Those guys will do anything. There's some door humping going on. I'm not part of it. Okay? I'm avoiding it all.
You have never been involved in something like this, have
Yeah. I'm washing in, washing out. Just where I'm at.
It's like a hog barn.
I am praying right now that nobody that I work with listens to this.
So I'm trying to figure out. You're a mechanic. How are you waller in filth all day, and then you're such a I didn't know you were such a germaphobe.
I'm not a germaphobe.
Because every time I piss on my hands, I still come up and rub you on the shoulder, and it's fine when we're drinking together.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Kind of like tonight. I pissed 2 or 3 times.
But I don't pee on my hand. If we're drinking like tonight, like I'm just unzipping and it's going out. I don't even have to touch it. It's just out there, and then I put it back. I don't have to touch it.
Are you a superb shaker though? Because you're older than me, so maybe you have it figured out and I don't. But I've never not had a little dribble in my underwear. I mean, every time.
As long as you're not sticking your hand in your underwear, you're good.
Am I the only one, or is that the truth? I mean, you always get just a little bit. So
you got to work on that.
I mean, you have residual.
But you're not sticking your hand in the front of your underwear, getting the pee all over your hand. You're good.
Depends on. I mean, it's getting to be Carhartt weather, you know.
So well, that's a whole other level.
You may have to get in there. And
then you got to do a little digging for that.
And Kelly, to answer your question earlier, that's why I don't have a bathroom in here, because Nick has to have shower in, shower out like a hog building. So he's going to get tired of.
If you had a bathroom in here, I wouldn't use it.
And
I pee outside.
And for all the listeners.
Inside of my house, I don't know why I'd be inside here.
For all the listeners, Nick is sitting in a Tyvek suit right now too. So, I'm
not a germaphobe. I'm germ conscious. Last Thanksgiving, everybody in my family, excuse me,
he's got Anthony Fauci trading cards.
I did not get sick. You know why? Because I am germ conscious. I don't lick toilet seats for a reason.
That is, I'm pretty sure you made that up, but I like it. You know.
Am I wrong? Did everybody else get sick?
Yes, last year at Thanksgiving, my entire family, all 4 sisters and their families were there, and they all caught the flu except my family. There was vomit everywhere in my house.
I camped out here.
He did.
I spent the last couple hours here. All spitters and shitters over there. I was good, though, because I don't lick toilet seats, and I pay attention to what's going on in the world.
So if a local guy brings in a dairy tractor that's just covered in cow shit, does that
don't
bother
bother
you?
me. No.
Well, that doesn't bother me either.
I
Horse shit, cow shit doesn't bother me.
won't. Yeah,
Human
you're
shit would
good
be
there.
absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Well, that shit's so old and it's dry.
Have
You're
you been
fine.
scooping human shit with this tractor?
You're fine.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
I'm not working
exactly.
that. I don't blame you. I'd be the same way.
Yeah.
He's not going to work for the sewer department anytime soon.
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
If I did, I'd shower in, shower out. Just makes good sense.
So how about that election?
Yeah, we talked about the local,
Thank you, Kelly.
about the results of the election. Yeah, you guys covered that this evening?
We did on his earlier. So, yeah, speaking of shit, let's talk about the politics in this country.
Ryan,
So bottom line
Ryan,
is
are you okay
the
after
United
Trump got
States
in, or
is
are you
tired
still-
of the woke bullshit. They're tired of we got pushed too far. We'll put up with a little bit of that shit. You want to dabble in this, dabble in that shit we don't believe in, but the silent majority is not willing to push back that hard till you push us too far.
Nick,
and that's where we got in this.
Can we get to the root problem? Ryan, I'm still paying too much for gas. I need you to fix that. You're the oil guy.
Okay, you want lower gas prices. Yeah. It's not because we that produce oil.
Now it's not your fault. Okay.
I'm going to tell you what the problem is. I can tell you easily what the problem is. The EPA. That's the problem.
What is EPA?
Doge is
Environmental protection. It's the same assholes that make you put diesel emission shit on your truck. They won't let us build refineries.
Yes.
We can produce crude oil out the ass in America, and we are. 13 million barrels per day. That's what we're producing. More than Saudi Arabia. But we can't refine it. So you got like all these bushels of corn that needs to be turned into ethanol, and we can't do it fast enough. Same thing with oil.
We have good friends that we vacation with every year, and he's in the oil industry, and he said the same thing. He's like, you can produce as much as you want, but we haven't built a refinery in how many decades?
That's right. And that's the EPA's fault. And the last podcast that Jess and I did, I said that. The EPA needs to be completely abolished. Do you
honestly think, do you think Trump will jerk some of this around, or you think it's too far gone to?
Lee Zeldin is a guy that he appointed to do that, and Lee Zeldin is a business guy. So I would hope to think, or I'd like to think, that he understands how the EPA is just destroying business. Trump also said, I'm going to cut the price of energy by half. The only way you're going to do that is to make our refining capacity come up. Because, I mean, think about it. You could produce $30 million barrels of oil a day. If you can't do nothing on the backside of it, that's it.
Yeah, don't eat any good.
So
doesn't matter how many asses you have if you don't have enough gaskets for them.
That's exactly right.
You can only produce.
You want
so
to make
much.
20 million gallons of hand sanitizer, nobody's using it. After they piss.
That's right. If
It
you
don't
only got
matter.
two sets of hands, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I ain't going to use the shit.
Obviously, we've established that.
Yeah, nasty.
I never dreamed I'd walk in on the backside of that conversation. No pun intended.
Now Jess can be a little weirded out by you.
A little bit.
It's fine. Yeah.
You guys are residing in Shelby County tonight, right? You're not going to go home, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Like nobody's leaving. Why would anybody leave? Why would you go home? What are you going to get home for?
Oh.
Because we don't have ass gaskets. We can go down and get stuff.
I got shit to do
Because she
tomorrow.
wants to sleep in her bed.
Yeah, that's true, too.
And I get that.
This is
I
where women
get
add
that.
more stress. It's like, fuck it, we're just
Yeah, I
going
don't
to
care.
bed. We'll get home tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, see?
I know you don't care. That's why I care.
Add that hiccup.
So you're not making gas cheaper.
So I'm not making gas cheaper?
That's what you just told me. You're not making gas.
No, I don't have any power over that. I
It's
make
the
I
EPA.
make the raw product to make gasoline. If they don't want to refine it, you know, that's fine, dude.
Every time I go to the pump, I pay too much like that.
I'll take an ass kicking anytime I can get it. It's fine.
What say you? You look like you're ready to go. Like you were ready to go 35 minutes ago.
Ready to go? Like talking?
No, like go home.
You ready
like
to
like you're
talk?
done. You're just like done. We're out of here.
No, I'm
fucking
enjoying
leave.
it. No, I'm enjoying it. I really am.
Ass gaskets and
No,
stuff.
that's not preferably
I mean, hey,
what I'd like to tell.
You're a big trucker now. Tell us about truck stops. What do you think?
What?
I mean, you got your CDL now.
We're trying to take the exit to get off this route, and Tony takes the next one right back to it.
That's typical Illinois. You got to the exit and it was closed, so you got to get back on and keep going.
So, for people who don't know, Ryan's a farmer, and he's like, for about 4 or 5 years, I'm like, what can I do to help? I'm a stay-at-home mom, and you're a farmer. Can I bring you food to the field? No, we had McDonald's for 15 days in a row. And then also, he's like,
legit.
if you don't have a CDL, you can't help me. And so I heard that for 4 or 5 years in a row, and I decided, you know what? I can drive a truck. So last summer I got my CDL, and that turned into, well, if you can drive a hopper bottom, you can definitely drive a tank truck, and we need you in a tank truck. That's where the need is. And I'm the kind of person, like, my dad taught me how to work. Like, I didn't get to sleep in on Saturday or Sunday or stay out late. Like, my curfew was 9 o'clock or 10. Same. So we were very structured. You know, mom and dad did us good. But anyways, so I was willing to help out and do it. And so Ryan threw me in the International 10-speed, and that's what I drove all harvest last year. And then now it's turned into like a full-time gig. And
to the point that when I called Ryan today, he was working on the podcast. And I'm like, you want to meet for supper? He's like, I can't. Jess is still out in the tank truck.
True story.
She's not going to be done in time to go.
Yeah, true story.
You filling out logbooks and shit, driver?
No.
I mean,
LDs.
If the wife is going to look at me and say, honey, we're a team. You're damn right we are.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it, though. I really do.
You know, something you can do with those tank trucks, too, though, besides all oil, is you can pump septic systems.
It's like shit tank. You're exactly right.
Not my tank truck. Not mine. No, sir.
You know, that has happened. That has happened. About 10 years ago, I had a guy in Albion, Illinois, that needed a septic tank pumped. And I was like, eh. And I know that an oil field vac truck is the exact same thing as a shit pumper. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. And the guy's working for me. He's like, well, I mean, I'll go do it. It's like, okay, well, you can go do it. And on his paperwork, whenever he brought it back to me at the end of the day so I could bill it out, like generally in the oil fields, like you got the operator and you have that lease. You know, we Wabash 12 oil, we pump the Tony Reed #1 and we bill you for it. So he just put no operator, and under lease he put shit job.
Nice.
And that's how your bill went out.
That's what I did. I mean, I billed it out shit job.
Yeah. What'd you do, Dave? I had a couple shit jobs.
Yeah.
And you know what the thing is those guys make bank.
They do.
Because ain't nobody want to deal with that.
And most of them guys just spread it on farm fields.
And that's what I did, actually. Yeah. Totally illegally, but yeah.
Did you shower in, shower out?
I didn't even
Definitely.
unload it. I wouldn't touch it. Like, I just tell you.
You know, in Israel, it's really interesting. I'm just thinking about this. You're saying spreading that on a field. Like, that's what they do to their trees and stuff there. It's no big deal. It's just, and I couldn't hardly fathom being there, standing in this field after I realized it was fertilized with human feces. What?
That's the new trend we start on TikTok. Everybody's talking about all their cow shit and hog shit. We're fertilized with human shit. You guys are eating these tomatoes. What do you think of that? That'll fucking kill the tomato market.
Tony, how do you think all that stuff in like Will County, Illinois, et cetera, outskirts of Chicago?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think it's fertilized
Absolutely.
with? It ain't cow shit.
Nope.
That's all
Pelletized people poop.
When I worked at Equity years and years ago, the city, Neoga, Illinois, just straight east of here,
Yeah.
they had with their water waste treatment, but it was more lime because I guess they use a bunch of lime to break all that down, and then they would pile it in the field. So it essentially almost looked like, they call it city lime because it had some solids in it, but it was more lime than it was actual waste. But yeah, I spread a bunch of it.
50 miles north of here, they got a center pivot. It just runs over there and spreads the liquid. I'd love to farm that field once because I'm sure it would grow a hell of a crop. But.
Ryan, I know what a oil field hose looks like and how hard it would be to clean after, sucking up some oily water or something. I can't imagine what a septic hose Do you just leave those at the job site?
I'm not a septic pumper. I don't.
No, I've seen him do it.
Like a dirty condom.
I would just throw the hose away.
No, the guys I watch do it, no, they handle it just like it's livestock, like no big deal. They brush it up against their coat.
There was a guy down in my area. He's like, "Are you afraid to get sick because of dealing with that?" He's like, "No, they got pills for that."
You know, it is funny how you view that. Like, if I step in dog shit, I'm DEFCON 5.
Oh, say dog and cat shit, I'm out.
But if I'm doing horse chores, doesn't bother me at all.
Hog shit, cow shit, don't bother me. Cat shit, dog shit, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm out.
I'm done. Human shit's a whole other level above that.
Yep.
I'm out. Mm-hmm. But livestock,
never stepped in human shit before.
No, I've never
That
stepped
you know
in.
of.
He's not going to take care of me. Whatever.
no.
We hope they go before us because we're SOL.
He's like,
The way I'm living life, that's pretty much a guarantee at this point,
can't
Jess.
take care of him. I'm out.
Oh, no.
That does take a whole new level of human being to go to a nursing home and wipe asses every day. I mean, I commend the people, but
Yeah, I'm out on that.
don't know if that's what I'm going to get up and be cheerful to
Not my cup of tea.
get out of bed about.
I'm just going to chime in here. How many times have I waded through your shit literally for a test? Twice.
Yeah, and I didn't ask you to do that.
But who else was going to do it?
The doctor can do it.
It
for all I
wasn't,
care.
you were going to
I
do
wasn't
it.
going to do it.
Yeah. So I had to do it.
So how did?
I had to do it.
All right. I got a question,
Yes.
Carolyn.
Yes.
So you waded through Tony's shit.
Yes. And it was not pretty.
How did he produce the specimen?
Well, he went to the bathroom for 30 to 40 minutes. And then, like, there was like a catch-all kind of thing, pan there or whatever. And so then I had to go in there with like a special spoon, scoop it up, put it in the jar. Yeah.
Okay.
I had my shirt up like this.
That's where Lyme disease gets you.
Is that what it is? That's why you had to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
This wasn't the Cologuard thing. Man, I got a funny story about Cologuard. Did you know that they're going to, like, if they haven't already, going to, like, totally do away with these boxes you mail in with feces specimens?
I hope so.
Well, I guess
For God's
these...
sakes, I hope so.
You know, I guess
'Cause I'm
the
not a fan.
instructions were pretty simple. Like, you shit and you put it in this bag and you put it in the box and then you mail it back. And I guess a bunch of these people were just shitting straight in the cardboard box. And then UPS was coming and picking them up.
Oh, my God. And Nick was getting packages off the UPS truck without washing his hands. They're shipping stuff to McCormick Diesel, and he's picking these packages up.
My hand cleaner's right next to the door. They drop it off. I'm all good.
So I assume I'm not a geriatric, so you have to explain this to me. Cologuard is like you send your shit in for testing.
Yeah, for like colon
Okay.
cancer. Yeah,
I thought so, but
that's bad. That's awful.
I was at the post office just a few weeks ago when one was returned, and the guy was there, and I'm like, I'm so embarrassed for him. But she's like, yeah, they said that it was leaking, and she was polite. That's a true story. That was hard.
I mean, did
hard for me to
Cologuard come from a bunch of people just like us sitting around drinking and be like, you know what? I'll bet you $100
oughta.
I could get half the American people to shit in a box and put it in the mail. They're like, there ain't no fucking way. And you're like, bullshit, I'm doing it.
Bet.
that brings a whole new meaning to what can Brown do for you, I guess.
Exactly. I'm telling you, there is certain aspects of the American economy that I am confident was people sitting around saying, I'll bet I can get people to do this. Like, there ain't no way. There ain't no
A
way.
bunch of drunk idiots like us.
Yeah.
There's no way we can get
Yeah.
yeah, this many stupid people will do this, and then by God, there is. So
We're going to test it. Just mail it back to us.
Yep. So if you guys want to shit in a box and send it to Bushels and Barrels, I think their address is on their website.
P.O. Box
They got a P.O. box.
291 Bone
Bone
Gap.
Gap.
immediately calling Monday saying, do not accept any boxes with leaky substances. Looks like it's been wet.
Any box that has a biochemical label on it, pass, immediately pass.
It's disgusting.
Like, you really thought that was a good idea?
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it was like trading places. Somebody made a lousy bet, sitting around drinking beer. I can get people to shit in a box and put it in the mail.
And somebody with too much money to fund it, the idea.
Or somebody really hated their mailman, be like, I'm going to fix this motherfucker, and they shit in the box. And then somebody who was actually into that stuff were like, holy cow, these guys actually picked this up. Let's just start sending
you
it.
have ruined Nick's weekly procedure when UPS or FedEx comes to the shop. He's going to be so mind-fucked when he goes to open the box.
I'll be fine.
Did this son bitch
I've
grab
got
a shitty
great
box
UPS and
earlier
FedEx
today?
guys. I'm good.
Sanitizing in and out.
I'm good.
In and out.
I'm good.
He's good to go.
Hey,
Ryan's the one that's up a creek because he's not going to wash his hands till later.
Now, wait. No, I wash my hands after I use the restroom. I was questioning you when you wash your hands before you walk in.
I'm telling you, shake 25 hands, you wash on your way in. You never know where they've been because there's 25 guys that didn't wash their hands on the way out that just shook your hand.
I'm just picturing Nick when the UPS man shows up. Hey, Nick, I got a turbo for you. And he comes out like the Michelin man in a Tyvek suit. And
No, I'm all good. I'm not a freak
from
about it.
you.
I'm not a freak about it, but I just noticed.
So you'll wash your hands before you piss, but if a UPS man who's touched shitty boxes all day brings you something.
Have you seen those? They go down every dirt road in this country. They're covered in freaking dirt.
They're dirty.
Yeah, they're dirty as shit now. Yeah, they're fine.
But yeah, I never
Dusty.
thought like at a farm show. I mean, somebody could have hooked up with a burner, and now you're
Yeah, next thing you know, you're pissing fire.
Yep.
And you didn't get the enjoyment out of it, so I'm just washing in, washing out. That's where I'm at.
That's a lot of thought. It's a lot of thought.
We get pretty.
You
deep.
guys are worried about the details of where your kids have to be tomorrow. I'm worried about making sure that my shit's clean because I didn't do anything to make it unclean.
Right.
That's just where I'm
It's
at.
very important, though. It's very important.
It is very important.
So what else you
Just
guys
a-
want to
just
talk
a
about
service.
farming?
Yeah, we've covered the manure segment now.
Yeah. Anyway,
Moving
yeah.
along.
Yeah.
I don't know where the fuck this ended up.
I don't know. We should probably
Do you
wrap.
think you'll
We should
post it?
probably wrap this. We should probably wrap this one. Start another one.
Yeah, it's looking like, because I don't know how we ever rewrite the ship here. I mean, like,
Yeah,
we're
we're going to have to start over. It's just like you were talking with politics, Tony. We have to start a revolution.
Yeah.
We're going to have to kill this one, start another one.
we drove straight into the hurricane, and we're just stuck in the eye now. We're just going to follow.
Here
along.
we are. Yeah, here we are. Ryan's not washing in, so there's no reason to wash out because
Nick
you've
is
already touched the
washing in,
shit.
Washing out every second he gets.
I would like to say I'm a little upset with Carolyn because she had a Snapchat of her baking sugar cookies the other day, and I even sent the little heart deal.
Okay.
And she
so-
disappeared from here for about 15 minutes. I was like, oh, Carolyn's going in and getting me sugar cookies. And then she walked back out, and she didn't.
Okay,
And I'm just
so-
a little bit upset about it.
So I made
But I'm
sugar,
over it, so it's no big deal. It's
I
fine.
made sugar cookies because I volunteered to make all the cookies for the hot lunch on Monday.
Here we go. Women with no time volunteering to do more shit that they have no time for. So to preface this deal with Nathan's sugar cookies, so it's been 8-9 years ago.
He was diagnosed diabetic
Was having
because
a,
of Carolyn's sugar cookies.
was having a fundraiser for
mom.
St. Jude's, and Carolyn had made some sugar cookies.
No, my mom.
Whoever, it don't matter. And they bid these cookies up to $1,200, right? Yeah, it was like $1,200 for a dozen sugar cookies. And Nathan won, and we had a party here that night, and a bunch of us got drunk. And
Not me.
I didn't
You.
do this. I
You.
knew where the cookies
So
were.
I want to cut Tony off here. I was the only friend who showed back up the next morning to help him
Exactly.
clean up.
This is true, because it was like the Tri-County party.
It was
There
like
shit
3.
everywhere.
I went home at like 2. I think the party stayed until, I don't know, the wee hours of the morning.
I went in
Anyway,
at 5:30 that morning.
That's exactly right.
I woke up, head splitting. I was like, I'm going to go help them clean up because it's a disaster zone up there.
Yeah.
And
he's-
then I show up to clean up. I'll let you go ahead from here, Tony.
And he's like, oh, by the way, I'll go ahead and grab them cookies while I'm here because I gave $1,200 for a dozen cookies. And he gets them out of the freezer, and a bunch of smart-ass friends got in and took one bite out of every single sugar cookie in the sleeve.
Which Tony encouraged them to do.
I did not
Yes,
take one
you
bite.
did. You did not take a bite, but you were like, oh, It'd be really funny if you guys all took a bite.
And I watched Nathan leave, and I watched him get down the road, and all at once I seen brake lights, and my phone rang. You motherfucker! He was so pissed.
I didn't even make it to the corner south of here. I was like, boy, I'm pretty hungover. I bet a sugar cookie would look good. Turns out 3/4 of a sugar cookie doesn't quite do it.
He was so pissed. He about wrecked his truck. I watched it out my window.
Okay, so
It was awesome.
to recap, I made all these cookies for the kids for daycare or for school. I will do another giant batch next week. There's cookies coming your way.
You heard it here first, America. I will be holding
There's
her to
cookies
this.
coming your way, especially because, oh my God, I watched Waylon's video tonight. His excitement, like I cried.
Now, you got to preface all this because nobody knows what you're talking
Okay, so Waylon shot his...
Who's Waylon? Jennings?
Waylon's, Nathan's
You got to
child.
preface this. Nobody knows.
Okay, Waylon is Nathan's son, and this is his second deer.
Yes, second
right?
buck he's killed. Yep, 2 years in a row.
And the video you posted on Facebook, like you could tell his excitement. Like he had no idea where to go with that adrenaline.
Yeah,
and,
so he shot this buck last night, and he shot
and it was big.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice buck.
It was a great buck.
And he ran off, and Dad, I got buck fever, which I wasn't there for his first one. So his first one he killed was last year during youth season, and he couldn't get it done with me, so Dad took him on that Monday, and he killed it with Dad. So I wasn't there to witness his first deer kill. And he shot it last night. Dad, I'm shaking so bad. I got buck fever so bad. So we get to tracking it, and I get, 30 yards from it, and I see it. And I say, Waylon, what do you see up there? And I got my phone out, and he was crying.
I know.
He was tore
I know.
up. Yeah.
I told Tony as I watched the video, I was like, he's on the brink of crying, but he doesn't want to cry. And I was like, I'm crying with him. Like, I watched the video, I was bawling my eyes out, and I was like, yay, Waylon, yay. Because it's just the adrenaline rush. Like, it's such a big deal. It really is.
Yeah, but so my dad and brothers had said I ruined him because a lot of guys don't get to be 30 years old and kill 2 nice deer 2 years in a row, and he's 9. So I'm hoping that he can take disappointment. You know, I'm hoping he has a couple dry years. So
he's going to be fine.
yeah.
You could tell in that video, he was like on the brink of crying, but he was like holding back. And I was like, no, Waylon, let it out. Like, we're all there with you.
So
like,
he got
I'm
the
crying
full
with you.
experience of it this morning, though, whenever I went and started cutting up the deer, and then he wanted to run back. I said, where are you going? I'm going to go play some basketball. I said, oh, no, we're cutting the deer up, bud. Like, the shooting is the fun part. I said, the work starts. So we cut him up this morning, and he was all hands on deck. I made him gut it last night, so
No.
he's learned how to do her.
It absolutely made my day watching that video.
It is gun season, though. Any big buck stories, Tony?
Nope.
He's got nothing.
Nothing.
Nope.
You a deer hunter, Ryan? I guess not, since you're... Yeah. I am, but I'm here drunk at 30 in the morning, so tomorrow morning's not looking real good, so...
Was everybody yawning? No
I'm
comments?
not, Tony. I'm good to go.
I'm good.
No big buck stories, Nick?
No, there's no shortage of cattle in this country, so I just eat steak.
I tell you what, beef is a lot better than
It
deer.
is a lot
Oh,
better
yeah.
than deer.
But
I appreciate every deer that gets killed. That's one less ditch rat to jump out in front of my truck. But I don't mind a little bit of deer jerky or sticks or whatever, but I just wouldn't have beef for pork.
I did tell Waylon that he's about done shooting deer, though, because last year during youth season, he shot his buck, and it was warm, so we went hunting in my dad's brother-in-law's cooler, and I hit a deer on the way home. Mm-hmm. Well, you'll never guess what I did last night after Waylon shot his deer.
Hit another
deer. So I said, Bud, you're just about done. Every time you shoot something, I wreck my truck. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gets expensive for Dad on the taxidermy bill and the truck repair. So
Yeah, I could see that. Yep. Well, have we been around the world?
Yeah, we probably ought to wrap this one up.
1 hour and 50 minutes.
That ought to be sufficient. Always
Yeah,
keep a
we
bitch 'cause we
should
don't ever
probably
do
wrap it.
anything,
Yeah.
or at
Now
least-
we've bored them to death.
No shit.
Thank God you got it done in time so during harvest everyone had something to listen to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're just trying to keep America great.
Yeah. Go ahead and hit the bump music. You can like turn it on up. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. See? Yeah. Can we use that same music on the outro? I think we do.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Close.
If not, blame Ryan. You usually start off slow and then bring it up. He started off high and
Yeah.
brought it down, but it's either way. Make up your mind.
Yeah. Well, one thing about this podcast was it literally turned into a shit show.
Yeah.
Literally.
Basically, what we learned is Ryan can't run his Rodecaster board. He has no idea where the microphone settings need to be or what the one patch button apparently does.
If I didn't have so much tank truck work to do tomorrow morning, I would be doing.
What
I
in
would
the
be more.
hell are you talking about?
Hey, your boss is an asshole. I wouldn't go
I'm
in.
telling you what, he's the only boss I've ever been able
We're
to
gonna
poke
get
in
out of
the
here.
eye.
Yep. What a shit show this was, literally.
Sorry. You guys wanted one, we gave it to you.
Yep. Don't bitch at us if you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of farming, a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
I think that's what our motto is.
But it was straightforward.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't much farming, but it was straightforward.
Yep.